Hello everybody, this is Fernando for Godzilla Movie News. Yet another entry when it comes to my Cryptids and Monsters video. This time having to do more on the monster side because this is actually an encounter that somebody had with a giant snake. And this happened, looks like back in the late 50s. And it's considering the size of this snake, that's why it's more classified as a monster than a cryptid, because there's photographic and eyewitness testimony to this. But in any case, we'll start out with a preface here. A gentleman that goes by the name of Colonel Remy van Leerde. He was somebody who served in World War II, and he was a distinguished officer. He especially flew a lot of planes. He shot down 6 enemy aircrafts, and he obtained the Royal Air Force rank of squadron leader during his service. So this was somebody, the reason I'm prefacing all this is because this is somebody that essentially has no real reason to make up this kind of stuff. There's nothing in terms of credibility lost when somebody does something like this, because again, why would he make something up with regards to seeing a giant snake if he already has all this distinguished set of medals and historic items, stuff that he did during his service. It just adds that much more credibility when it comes to his claims. And in any case, the way it works was he revealed to the world, and this was, it looks like through an episode of Arthur C. Clarke, who used to have a very good show on called Mysterious World. I'm sure if you go to YouTube, you'll be able to find the episodes there by just typing in Mysterious World. And he claims that during the year 1959, he was in an area called the Katanga region near the Congo, and he was on a mission essentially that was involving him having to be in a helicopter surveying the area. And as he was doing this, he claims that he saw something that caught his eye, and it turned out to be what looked like a snake, except what was different this from any other type of snake that I've seen before was the size of this. In fact, he had to do several passes to ensure that he was seeing what he was seeing, and that would allow him to take the photograph that you're seeing here. And again, I mentioned all of his preface involving his military history, and of course him having worked on board airplanes, and especially when it came to missions, because somebody like that should be able to gauge pretty accurately the distance between things. I mean, their livelihood depends on it. If you're especially flying a plane, you have to immediately gauge how far things are, what the size of something is, especially if you're landing, if you're trying to shoot somebody down, if you're trying to do any kind of maneuver. You want to make sure that you're able to accurately guess distances and the measure of things. And so he claims that while he saw this snake, it was actually close to 50 feet in length. That is humongous. That is something that no anaconda today has been able to be, if at least those that have been caught are near that length. And this is something that, if truly did exist, in terms of the size of it, which I'm believing him because, again, considering his record and his history, then it's actually more of the size of the Titanoboa, which was a dinosaur, not really a dinosaur, but a lizard, a reptile that lived during the prehistoric era, and we're talking about 60 to 58 million years ago. And the Titanoboa actually ranged somewhere around 40 to 50 feet based on the fossils that are found today. But now here, in 1959, we have somebody that's claiming to see a snake the size of about 50 feet in length. And apparently the colonel, he was able to take this picture. He tried to get as even closer that he could, as close as he could to the snake, but the snake, he claims, reared up its head. He was able to gauge that the snake's head was 3 feet wide. To give you an idea what 3 feet is, imagine your average little person or dwarf. They're usually about that size. Now turn that dwarf sideways, and that's how wide the head is. That is huge. That is humongous. That could easily swallow any person. and that the snake, of course, reared its head, looked at the helicopter, looked at him, and rose up approximately 10 feet in the air, almost as if a challenge to the oncoming helicopter. And according to Colonel Leard, he mentioned that if the snake had been close enough, no doubt it would have attacked the helicopter and probably done some great damage, so he didn't fly any closer. That's why only one picture was able to be taken, because by that point the snake was alarmed and no doubt was going to do some damage on there. So this is a very famous monster because the length that we're talking about is 50 feet, and that's longer than your average bus, your average school bus. Lay that monster on the ground and you have a school bus that's shorter than it. And when it comes to, again, the size of the snake's head, which is estimated to be about 3 feet wide, then you're talking about a massive, massive snake. Again, the size of Titanoboa, which is previously thought to be extinct. So, he also claimed that the snake had brownish, kind of a dark shade of brown and green, but that the underbelly was actually white. So again, a very distinctive set of coloring on there. No other reports of any kind have been found of this giant snake. I imagine that there were other expeditions. People have analyzed the photo. It's a little hard to distinguish, but some of those spots around the snake are actually termite mounds. And anyone who knows termite mounds know that they're not really small. They're not the size of like a basketball or anything like that. They're in of itself large items, and the snake dwarfs them. So again, it goes to show that based on diagnostics that people did based on the photo, that they corroborates the size of the snake that the colonel was mentioning. Very freaky stuff. The idea that out there's probably a snake that's 50 feet, if not longer, somewhere in the Congo during that time period. Who knows if that would be someone out there right now too, that some snake that's around that size period too. So anyways, as always, thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Bye.